Welcome everyone to Real Estate with Gwen Price, and I'm happy to be with Trina Tallon from Neighbourhood Dominion Lending and also my broker of record, Lana Watier. Hi ladies.
Hello ladies.
Hey, we still got some good weather. It's still kind of summery, but we're heading down.
Yeah, getting a little cooler at night there, but still some nice sunny days ahead, I think. So it's good. I love fall. It's my favorite season, so I'm not complaining.
Geez, I wish every year. I swear I'm going to embrace fall, but I don't.
Well, that's because for you, Gwen, it's the end of the planting season, right? So all your gardens.
To me, everything's dying, but apparently it's going to sleep. I have to reframe my brain.
It's hibernating.
Hibernating. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do all winter. Anyway, so I'll just give a little recap of the stats. The average sale price in the city of Greater Sudbury is just about 471, and that's up from last year 22%, but from the peak, which was in February, it's down about 4%, because in February we were around the 489, so it's down 4% overall and about 2% from July. But listings are up slightly. They're almost up about 3%. Sales are down about 9.5%, and that's comparing from last year to the end of August. So things have definitely changed, but we're still at the end of August, 110% of what. So we're still getting offers that are full price offers or slightly over. We're still getting some competing offers. I know I've competed and have had that happen, but we're seeing a lot more conditional. In particular, they're putting the inspections back in and conditional and financing too, but a lot of them I see it's an inspection. Yeah. So that's kind of what's changed.
Well, and that's good. I think it's a good step in the right direction for everybody. We need to get back to some type of normalcy here and have, buyers have time to do their thing, get their financing confirmed, get their, inspections done and things like that. I think it's a good thing. I'm all for a more balanced market for everybody.
Yeah, because buyers have an opportunity now.
Yeah, absolutely. With going back to being able to have some conditions in there, though, one item that I think that we need to kind of reframe our brains around again is when everyone was going in without conditions, we would have like 30 to 90 day closings type of things. It didn't matter how long it really took for the clients to get documents over to their mortgage agents. But what's happening now is people are putting in financing conditions for 3, 4, 5 days, not business days, and have no pre-approval in place.
Ooh,
well, yeah, that's a ridiculous way to go. If you're going to shop for a house, you absolutely still need a pre-approval in place because things are changing, right, Trina? In the mortgage world, lots of changes are happening all the time. And anybody that doesn't get a pre-approval in place before they even step on a front lawn is crazy. As far as I'm concerned, you're nuts. Don't do it.
And it's a lot of work for the realtors too, because, a lot of the mindset with the buyers out there is, oh yeah, we'll just write an offer. And if it doesn't work out, then we won't waive financing. That's like, but you're turning a property too.
Well, and it's not fair to the sellers either, right? This is, people's livelihoods, people's lives are involved here. And to have such a nonchalant attitude about, a legal document, first of all, it's sad. It's got nonchalance has got no place in real estate world. It's a very important and it's a very stressful thing for everybody. So if you're throwing out offers in there and you have no idea if you actually qualify, that's detrimental to everybody, not only the realtor, but and yourself, but the sellers as well. And the other people that actually do qualify already have their pre-approvals in place to qualify for those properties.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not fair. That shouldn't be happening. And
No.
it's a realtor's part of a realtor's due diligence to ensure that their clients are properly qualified before they're writing offers for them.
And it's challenging for real estate agents too right now, and well, everyone that's related to real estate, because pre-approvals are really only good for about a week.
Yeah. Well, I guess so, with the amount of way things are changing so
Yeah.
fast. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so my suggestion always, when a client gets pre-approved and it's in big bold letters and highlighted, that before they write an offer, to have the listing sent to me with what they want to offer. Because I have had to do pre-approval so many times for so many clients, because what's happened now is that we no longer are using the benchmark rate to qualify. It is the contract rate plus 2%.
Well, and that's significantly different. That significantly changes the ballgame when it comes to how the numbers roll out.
So I'm padding my pre-approvals a little bit with that qualifying rate.
Yeah.
Only because, like, right now, the 5-year fixed rate is at about 4.59 for less than 20% down. But the bond market is starting to go up a little bit, which means we're going to see fixed rates on the rise. Now, will it be by like 0.1 or 10 basis points, or will it be like a full 1% up to 5.5? Or no one knows. The economists are stumped. I'm personally a little disappointed in our government at this point because of the history of the last year and a half of they're doing exactly what they said they were not going to do, which is caught a lot, like everyone. No one has anticipated out there at the beginning of this year the way that where we would be right now.
Yeah.
As far as that prime rate. But through like conversations, like I was thinking about it, at the end of November 2018, when I bought my house with more than 20% down, even with me getting a special deal because of what I do, my interest rate was 3.89.
Yeah.
So this isn't crazy times. You know what I mean? It's just that we got so incredibly spoiled by unprecedentedly low rates for 2 years, which was an overcorrection that now we're a little bit higher than 2018, 2019, but it's that shock, right?
Yeah.
Of what's happened with that huge increase within an 8-month span that no one was anticipating happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But get pre-approved.
Absolutely.
Check with your mortgage person before you write the offer, if you're not going to put in a financing condition, because the difference of like 0.5% or even 0.2 of a percentage in the qualifying rate can make the change, can change like 10 to 30 or $40,000 in a purchase price.
Well, and I think what people need to keep in mind as well, that some have the opinion that, well, if I can't get financing, I'll just back away from the deal. Well, if you don't have a financing condition in there and you can't close your deal, that's a legal problem now. That's, people are going to end up in a legal jackpot where you're going to get sued or you're going to pay huge fines and huge penalties and things like that. So it's not a small thing. This is the biggest investment that a lot of people make in their lives. It's not a small thing, and it is a big deal. Have all your ducks in a row. I feel like we say this almost every month. Get pre-approved. Get pre-approved.
Well, because what happens, the seller has made decisions based on that document, right? Based on, you've said that you've got your financing, you're not putting in a condition in there. So they go ahead and then maybe everything's fine or the inspection's fine. They go ahead and they put an offer on something. And it's a ripple effect. And it's even more so. I mean, back before all of the, the seller's market, you would have like a chain of events happening. I remember one where there was 5 in a row that I was involved in, and all it would take is one little hiccup And in fact, nobody could do bridge financing back then. None of them qualified for bridge. It was a nightmare on closing day, right?
Everybody's moving and closing on the same day.
Yeah.
And if one domino doesn't fall,
That's right. That's
everybody's
a lot
done.
imagine how many people are involved in that, and forget about whether the realtors get paid or not. But say there's two people, their families are all involved in those transactions. And so, yeah, when you write an offer, and even if you do make it conditional on financing, but you haven't been pre-approved, that basically takes that house off the market, because a lot of people won't show a house conditional, right? So
no, most people won't want to view a house if it has a condition on it, because, you know, realistically, 9 times out of 10, the deals work out.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
still have the majority of them that do work out, but there's always that one guy
Yeah, like, I mean, it's important to have all of your documentation into the, don't be, you know, saying, oh, I'll get that to you, and weeks go by and they still haven't given it to the banks, right? Like it's.
I have to tell you, and I rarely complain, but it's so stressful. Like when people were going in without conditions, I was not stressed.
Well, because you have
It
60
wasn't
days
on
or
me.
30 days or whatever to get all the stuff in.
Yeah, yeah.
But now when
and
you have 5 days,
yeah,
it's
and
only
it's
5
like,
days.
oh my gosh. And then like people, down payment's always an interesting endeavor, right? Because folks don't understand what the deal is with down payment. So they,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
going and borrowing $5,000 from their unsecured line of credit to put their deposit on their house, and all this moving parts and everything, and then frustration because all this documentation needs to come in. And so it's always good to make sure that the ducks are in a row before going and writing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, so now we've had that last 3/4 of a point increase. I mean, so definitely I felt the shift in the market when we had the 1%. We'll see what happens with the 3/4. You know, and we don't know. I mean, there could be more, right?
There will, 100%.
100%.
Well, it's got nowhere else to go but up. I mean,
Well, I would go 99.9% that we'll see 2 more increases this year.
Yeah.
That's what people are thinking. And it'll be a total of another 0.75%. So 0.75.
Yeah.
Which again, like last week I took a look at, like went back over it, because I keep all of our economists' emails, right? And they reflect what they're being told by the government and what they see in the market and all this kind of stuff. And this is not at all what was being anticipated even at the beginning of this year. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, because that really significantly affects borrowing power, right? Like first-time home buyers, although 42% of buyers last year were first-time home buyers, but a lot of people were complaining in the last 2 years with the price increases of homes that they couldn't afford a home. But now with these increases in the interest rates, even with home prices coming down, it doesn't mean that people can afford. And it's really interesting, Gwen, because I think you said that we're 4% difference in
from the peak
from
in
February.
From February.
So
4%.
And we're still like over 1 million homes short in this country for people. I read an article, I believe it was Globe and Mail yesterday, and they were talking about market outlook for next year, because even Toronto has started to come back up a little bit.
I think in certain areas for sure.
And talking Sudbury.
It's two different things. And like I say, we're still experiencing multiple offers on some products, right? There's still an interest in certain price ranges too. When you're in the 200, all of a sudden there's all these people, right? And they're looking, but and I think a lot of people are reading those headlines, you know, that the market's falling really drastically in some areas, whatever. We're not experiencing a huge drop in prices. Not that
No.
it, you know, I mean, 4%, yeah, that's a change, but it's not so out of whack, you know what I mean? It's not all of a sudden you got these great deals. The buyers at 200 and something are still going to have to do a lot of work in the house. It's not a house that's in move-in condition. So, you know, people are looking and they're thinking, you know, I'm going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting. But in the meantime, you're also, if you're a first-time buyer, you're still paying rent somewhere, and the rents are not
my gosh.
dropping.
No, the
You
rents
know?
are going up considerably as well. A housing shortage is a housing shortage.
It's
Whether to rent
drastic.
or to buy, it is,
Yeah.
it's tight. It's tight to find a place to live.
It is.
I just-
Like I've got lots of seniors that are looking,
Mhm.
right? And you try and you start looking and you're talking pretty much $2,000 and up. And that's a lot when you're on a fixed income.
Yep.
But
Yep,
you're sitting on
absolutely.
this pile of money in the equity that you have in your house. And, you know, and if you can stay in your house, fine, but there's sometimes you just can't anymore. And you try to
Yeah.
move on, and where are you going to go? So yeah, we talk about this all the time. There's not enough housing. There's not enough affordable housing for a lot of people. But yeah, Sudbury is not Toronto. When you're reading those Toronto, you know, and of course that's the news, right? To make it look as dramatic as possible. But
Yeah.
we're not experiencing that. At
No,
least
no,
not in my
thankfully we're not.
opinion.
No.
I want, if it's okay, I want just another comment on strategy for clients who are in variable rate mortgages right now, who are not able to stand the increases, because even the folks that have payments that have remained the same, there is a trigger point and their payments are about to change.
Yeah.
Because the amount of principal that you have to be able to pay towards a mortgage versus the amount of interest, there's an equation there where even if you do have a variable rate mortgage and your payment has remained the same, that's about to change, because there's not enough money going to principal. So one of the big banks was rolling out letters to 80,000 Ontario people, just one of the banks, that their mortgage payments are about to go up considerably. So here's what the banks are going to try and do. They're going to try and lock people into 5-year fixed, which right now with most banks is over 5%. So what I've been doing with my clients who are less tolerant of these increases that are happening is I've been transferring them from their current mortgage holder. They're paying a 3 months interest penalty, $1,000, $1,200, $1,800, somewhere in there, and depending on the amount of the mortgage. And I'm transferring them into a 1, 2, or 3 year mortgage that has a rate of like 4.54-ish, because this will pass.
Mhm.
It's like the two of you been around long enough to know, and
Yeah.
myself,
See the gray hair?
ups and downs and ups and downs, and what goes up
Yeah.
must come down.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people just to get on the phone with their bank and say, lock me in.
Yeah. You got to look at your options.
You're going
Look
to
at-
get locked into their posted rates, not their rate specials.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
paying the little bit of penalty is 9 times out of 10 worth it to switch to a different lender to get a better rate, get on a shorter term, and then have that comfort level that your payments are going to stay the same. Because what I am hearing from the people out there that are supposed to know what's going on out there is that we're looking at like a 12 to 18 month
Yeah.
period of, because even if inflation goes down, that's not an automatic trigger for the prime rate to go down. Because if you look at it historically, going back to the 80s, the government, as soon as inflation went down, the government corrected the prime rate and dropped it at the same time, and then we were back up again with inflation immediately. So it'll be I anticipate, from what I'm hearing, a gradual decrease even when inflation comes down. So
Yeah.
that's
So-
where we're at. That's my advice.
All right, good advice. That sounds like
Yeah.
great advice.
Well, yeah, and and houses over time appreciate. It's still one of your best investments. It's although right now cars aren't too bad, right? They're giving you lots of money on your used cars. So, but typically, an asset such as your house is a valuable asset that appreciates over time. Even if there is little blips along the way, over time, it still appreciates. So,
Well, because the money is going, like with mortgages, when we're using rental income, whether it be for a new rental property or existing rentals that don't have rental history, but all of a sudden they're getting big rents. So I have to have an appraiser do a market rent report. It's crazy what they're able to get for rents out there right now.
yeah.
So $2,000 into a landlord's pocket, and don't get me wrong, I have tons of clients that are landlords.
Yeah.
But $2,000 into their pocket versus $2,000 paying off a mortgage and building equity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's always been like kind of a forced savings. You're paying to something, but you're paying down that, and the house is appreciating over time. So, yeah, it's a good place to put your money. But,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
They need to
agree.
talk to a mortgage specialists like you, Trina, to make sure they got all their ducks in a row and they are approved to go and out there and look at houses. So so everybody can get through this, right?
Yep, 100%.
Well, thank you, ladies, and we'll see what happens at the end of September. It's we're heading into the fall. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be
I'll try
another.
to change my attitude, okay?
And we're going to be mulching and protecting those perennials soon enough.
I've already bought some little
There you go.
Anyway,
All
take
right.
care. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Have a great month.
You too.